Alright, let's dive in. 50 Cent just exposed the real reason Snoop Dogg completely vanished the moment his Diddy documentary hit Netflix. And what I've uncovered is way more disturbing than anyone could have anticipated. Multiple sources are now claiming that Snoop might actually be worse than Diddy himself. Yes, you heard that right. Stick around, because the evidence I'm about to reveal is absolutely wild. Look, I know you clicked on this video because something felt off about Snoop's sudden disappearance, right? Well, you were absolutely right to trust that instinct. 50 Cent's documentary, Diddy, The Reckoning, is now the one show on Netflix in both the United States and the UK. But here's the part that's insane. The second this documentary dropped, Snoop Dogg went completely silent. No Instagram posts, no tweets, nothing. And for someone who's usually all over social media, that's beyond suspicious. So here's what you're going to uncover in this video. The real reason Snoop disappeared when everyone started talking about Diddy. Shocking allegations from people who were actually there, claiming Snoop was involved in the same dark secrets as Diddy. Evidence that has been hiding in plain sight for literally decades. And finally, I'll show you the evidence that Kim Porter allegedly caught Snoop Dogg and Diddy in an affair. Make sure you watch until the very end because the final piece of evidence will blow your mind. Trust me on this. Alright, before we dive into the deep stuff, you need to understand just how close Snoop and Diddy really were, because this isn't just some casual friendship we're talking about. This is something much deeper.
If you take that top card. When I die, I want my last words to be, I did it.
When 50 Cent's documentary dropped, it instantly became the biggest thing on Netflix. People everywhere started talking about Diddy's alleged crimes. The documentary shows victims bravely sharing their stories, explains the shocking party culture, and essentially exposes everything Diddy is accused of doing. It's intense, really intense. But here's the weird part. While everyone else was talking about it, sharing their opinions and posting their reactions, Snoop Dogg said absolutely nothing. Complete radio silence. For someone who usually comments on literally everything happening in hip-hop, that's strange. Very strange. Now let's rewind for a second. Just to give you some context, Snoop went on TV and explained that his sons and Diddy's sons have been best friends since they were 6 or 7 years old. He shared how close their families were, how Kim Porter, Diddy's late ex, would organize playdates for the kids. He said, "When Justin went to UCLA, my son went to UCLA. When Christian started rapping, my son started rapping. When he was modeling, they were flying around the world together." These families were literally connected on every level. So here's my question for you. When someone you're that close to gets exposed for serious crimes, and your first reaction is to disappear from public view, what does that tell you? Wouldn't an innocent person speak up? Wouldn't they say something? Anything? I'm not accusing anyone here, but I'm just pointing out some patterns that don't quite add up. You feel me? Before we dive deeper into this, though, let's break down what these allegations actually involve. We're talking about claims of wild, inappropriate parties where shocking things allegedly took place. Claims that Snoop was caught in compromising situations with Diddy, and even more disturbing claims that Snoop might have been involved in trafficking situations. Yeah, it gets dark, so if you're not ready for this, maybe click away now. But if you're after the truth, let's keep going. Okay, let's start with Snoop's odd behavior over the years. Once you see these patterns, you won't be able to unsee them. Remember when Diddy appeared on TV and said, "When I die, I want my last words to be, I did it." Go back and watch Snoop's face during that moment. He gives this awkward smile, almost like he knows exactly what Diddy means. People are now rewatching that clip, and they're seeing it completely differently. It's like watching a private joke between two people who share a dark secret. Creepy stuff, honestly. But it gets way worse, way worse.
And Death Row, y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us.
All on the record. Death. Come to Death Row.
But I was like, damn, we on the same record label. I know these people are really thinking like we are like
Coast, West Coast. We got beef with the people we got beef with. But we could go anywhere in the country because we are America's most wanted.
Suge Knight is currently serving a life sentence in prison. And with absolutely nothing left to lose, he's been revealing shocking truths about events that took place years ago. Recently, Suge dropped a bombshell about the night Tupac Shakur was shot in Las Vegas, something that could change everything we thought we knew. According to Suge, Snoop Dogg was supposed to be with them that night at the Mike Tyson fight. They had tickets, everything was planned, but at the last minute, Snoop mysteriously didn't show up. He didn't go to the fight, he didn't go to the club afterward, he didn't go anywhere. And this was the first event he had ever missed with them. Pretty suspicious, right? Then just hours later, Tupac is shot. He's in the hospital fighting for his life. And guess what? Snoop still doesn't show up. Suge said he was in his house in Vegas and started calling Snoop over and over saying, "Hey man, what's going on? Tupac's in the hospital, come check on him." When Snoop finally showed up at Suge's house, something really strange happened. Tupac's mother was there waiting, obviously upset because her son was in critical condition. When Snoop arrived, he turned to both of them and said, "Tupac hates me right now, he's mad at me." Then something even more bizarre occurred. Snoop started crying and literally throwing up, like physically throwing up. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not typical behavior. That's guilt. That's someone who knows something went horribly wrong and feels responsible. Does that sound like someone who has nothing to hide? But wait, it gets even crazier. Warren G., who is part of Snoop's family, confirmed that Snoop was at his house the night of the shooting and he had a walkie-talkie with him. But these weren't ordinary walkie-talkies. Suge explained that these were special radios used by security teams during major events across the entire West Coast. So why did Snoop have one of these security radios while he was watching the fight on TV at Warren G's house? And here's the kicker. Allegedly, Snoop could hear everything happening in Vegas, including the shots being fired. Multiple witnesses say they heard someone on the radio say, "Got him," right after Tupac was shot. I'm just connecting the dots here, guys. You tell me, does this sound innocent?
You hold it up a little bit more. Let me see how that. Oh yeah, dang.
You know what I'm saying? We don't hold our man hand. We shake it and get it back in our pocket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They got Diddy and Neo, and if you heard Neo's wife call him Little Diddy, that he like freak off, get high and get freak off. They all baby oil you up.
Oh man, what the hell is that?
You know what I'm saying?
Yo. Not him and his son. That's his son, right?
Yeah.
A guy named...
And it's not just Suge Knight making these claims. Fans have been going back through old interview footage from the 1990s, meticulously analyzing Snoop's body language whenever he's around Tupac. And let me tell you, you can see the tension. You can see Snoop acting nervous, positioning himself closer to Diddy's people than to the Death Row crew during the East Coast versus West Coast beef. People back then were already whispering about Snoop betraying Tupac. They were calling it out in real time. But no one wanted to believe it because Snoop seemed so cool and laid back. But looking back now, it's clear the signs were there. Alright, now let's get into the really disturbing stuff. Buckle up, because this is where things take a darker turn. You understand what I'm saying? We don't hold our man's hand. We shake it and get it back in our pocket. If you've heard the name Courtney Burgess, you might be surprised. He's a music industry veteran with 35 years of experience, and recently he came forward claiming he has Kim Porter's real memoir, not the fake book that was published after her death, the one her children said was false. No, this is the actual real memoir, complete with real evidence. And what Courtney claims is in this book, absolutely wild. According to Courtney, Kim Porter was documenting everything, photos, evidence, the whole 9 yards. She kept it all hidden because she knew just how dangerous Diddy was. But before her mysterious death in 2018, she allegedly gave everything to someone she trusted. In this memoir, there are supposedly pictures of Snoop and Diddy together in ways that straight men don't normally interact. Courtney specifically mentions one photo where Snoop let Diddy rub on his hand in what he describes as an inappropriate manner. He says, "These aren't quick handshakes. These are prolonged touches, intimate moments caught on camera." The interviewer actually shows some of these redacted photos during the interview. And even though faces are blacked out, you can see the body language, and it's definitely questionable. Courtney says straight up, "We don't hold our man's hand, we shake it, get it back in our pocket." But these photos, they show something completely different. There are also allegedly pictures of Diddy with other male celebrities like Neo and Andre Harrell in similar compromising positions. All documented, all saved by Kim Porter before her death. Now I've got to be honest with you guys. When I first heard about this, I thought maybe it was just gossip, maybe people were making things up. But then, the federal investigation confirmed some of this.
Also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again, back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood, but one particular...
A lawyer named Ariel Mitchell recently appeared on national news, representing multiple victims in the Diddy case, and she dropped an absolute bombshell live on TV. According to Mitchell, someone reached out to her trying to sell a freak-off tape featuring Diddy and another celebrity. But here's where it gets even crazier. She says the other person on the tape is more high-profile than Diddy, more famous than Diddy himself. Mitchell confirmed that she's seen still images from the video. She says the other person's face is clearly visible and the video was filmed at Diddy's Atlanta home. The most shocking part, it appears the other person had no idea they were being recorded. She specifically stated that it didn't seem like they were an active participant in the videotaping. It seemed like they were being secretly recorded without their consent. She also confirmed that the video is graphic in nature. Now, legally, she can't reveal who the other celebrity is, but multiple sources are now claiming that the person on the tape is none other than Snoop Dogg. Multiple independent sources all saying the same name. And guys, think about the timing here. Kim Porter dies suddenly in 2018 from pneumonia. A healthy 47-year-old woman just dies out of nowhere. And she allegedly had all this evidence about Diddy and Snoop. That's super suspicious. Like really, really suspicious. Now let's talk about what people who were actually there are saying. These aren't just random internet rumors. These are first-hand witnesses.
Dude is a demon. That dude was possessed with some kind of demon, man. He was possessed with some kind of demon. Wanna be in all this red, this dark rooms with the music blasting. It had to be a certain temperature, a certain type of music for the vibration they were saying. Come on, bro. And I don't care what nobody say, man. And like, when people still talking, keep on talking, if that priest ever come out and he talking, if people keep talking, you'll find out that a lot of shit that Gene Deal has said has been the truth and nothing but the truth. I was there.
Gene Deal was Diddy's personal bodyguard for years. He saw everything. And recently he came forward with some truly chilling statements. He described Diddy as a man possessed by a demon, claiming that Diddy was being controlled by some kind of dark force. According to Gene, he witnessed dark parties with eerie details, specific temperatures set in the room, certain types of music playing to create vibrational energy, and even actual rituals taking place. Gene went on to describe one particularly disturbing ritual. He said that he watched a priest or spiritual figure rub something on Diddy's head, and then Diddy was instructed to grab a white dove from a cage and throw it into the air. But here's the terrifying part. The dove didn't fly. It simply dropped straight to the ground as if it had no wings at all. Gene said he's never seen anything like it in his life. The whole thing felt unnatural, like something far beyond the realm of normal experience. And here's where it gets even more chilling. Multiple people are now claiming that Snoop Dogg was present at events like this, that he wasn't just a casual friend showing up to normal parties. No, according to these accounts, Snoop was allegedly involved in the weird, dark stuff too. But trust me, it gets even more disturbing.
I knew that Snoop Dogg, not again, mentioned him in December of 2020, but everybody beat the hell out of me. Screw you, that can't be true. What the hell do I know, right? And then recently it just came out again that Snoop Dogg got accused of trafficking children. And what did everybody do? Ooh, Snoop Dogg is at the halftime. I'm going to the halftime.
A woman named Ally Carter has been speaking out for years. She's a survivor of child trafficking, and she's been calling out both Diddy and Snoop Dogg since way back in 2020. But at the time, nobody believed her. People attacked her online, called her crazy, told her to shut up. But now everything she said is starting to come true. Ally stated that Snoop Dogg is actually more powerful and influential in these circles than Diddy. She said Snoop was accused of trafficking children back in December 2020, but it was completely ignored. People still celebrated him at the Super Bowl halftime show, still bought his products, still treated him like a hero. She asked a really good question. We canceled Dr. Seuss and Aunt Jemima, but we're okay with someone accused of trafficking? That makes sense to you. And you know what? She has a point, a valid point. Why do we pick and choose who gets canceled based on how famous and beloved they are? Did you all know that Snoop Dogg and Diddy were best friends with Tupac? Ally even goes on to compare Diddy to a Black Clinton, a reference to someone with immense power and influence. Nobody messes with Diddy for a reason, she says. She also brings up how Kanye West tried to expose the truth about this stuff, but suddenly started acting strange, almost like he was threatened or programmed to stop talking. It's all dark and twisted. Now I know some of you might be thinking, okay, but where's the actual proof? That's a fair question. But here's the thing, federal investigators have proof. They seized computers, hard drives, and flash drives from Diddy's properties. And according to multiple sources, Snoop's name keeps coming up in sealed testimony. Now let's talk about Snoop's pattern of lying, because once you see it, you'll realize he's been lying about his involvement for decades. There's a video circulating where someone breaks down all of Snoop's lies about Tupac. Snoop tells this elaborate story about running into Nuz in New York during the East Coast-West Coast beef, making it sound like Tupac confronted Nuz even though Nuz was deep with his own people. It paints the picture of this intense confrontation. But here's the problem. Nuz did a rebuttal video and said Snoop wasn't even there. Other Outlawz members who were actually close to Tupac confirmed Snoop wasn't there either. So why is Snoop telling false stories about events he didn't even attend? The person in the video asks the perfect question. What made Snoop think he could get away with telling a false story when everyone who was actually there could call him out? I'll tell you why Snoop needs to insert himself into Tupac's story to maintain his street credibility. He needs people to believe that he was loyal to Tupac, that they were best friends until the end. Because if the truth comes out that he betrayed Tupac and was actually working with Diddy, his entire career and legacy would be destroyed. Think about how many times Snoop has talked about Tupac over the years. How many interviews where he pretends to get emotional. How many times he's used Tupac's name to boost his own reputation. It's all calculated. It's all part of the act.
Yeah, man. I mean, I had to bring you back. This documentary got everyone talking, man. A lot of people want to know why you wasn't in it, man.
Well, first and foremost, I thought I was going to be in the documentary at first until I started talking to that director. I think her name is Stapleton. I don't know her name. I don't know, man. Me and 50 talked like 45 minutes. The producers had been calling me and everything. So this one night, 50 called me up and, they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's gonna be doing. You know what I'm saying? So I told him that I was going to, have Kirk and Tim. Kirk would be the one who talk about the business part of it. Tim would be the one who talk about the growing up phase with Diddy and everything and over there working in the record industry with him and stuff like that. They was like family. And I was gonna talk about, the street stuff, what was going on with Bad Boy, with the security, with Wolf, with the city college, with the time that I knew about when I was with him up until about early 2004 or something like that. But basically the streets and then the traveling with him and the atmosphere and everything. And then go back into the Notorious Big stuff with the Tupac and the whole 9 yards, all the stuff that I knew.
Suge Knight recently spoke about something called the boiled egg test that allegedly happens in the music industry. Now, I won't go into the disturbing and inappropriate details, but the basic idea is that young artists have to pass this ritual to prove they're willing to do whatever it takes to achieve success. According to Suge and multiple other sources, Snoop Dogg passed this test, and that's why his career exploded. That's why he became one of the biggest names in hip-hop, seemingly overnight. Here's something that's pretty weird. Snoop is obsessed with boiled eggs. He posts about them constantly on social media, makes jokes about them, even incorporates them into his branding. Some people believe this might be his way of signaling to others in the industry that he's part of the club, that he passed the test. Sounds crazy, right? But when you look at the bigger picture, all these weird little details start to make sense. Now let's talk about how Snoop has been strategically covering this up for years. Right when the Diddy allegations started heating up, Snoop Dogg was suddenly named the US honorary coach for the Winter Olympics. Convenient timing, don't you think? He gets this massive public platform, all this positive press, everyone praising how cool and fun he is. It was the perfect distraction from all the allegations circulating around him. Then he started doing all these commercials, T-Mobile, The Voice, NFL coverage. Suddenly he was everywhere, doing the most wholesome, family-friendly stuff possible, building up his good PR before everything hit the fan. But let's back up and talk about the real reason Gene Deal wasn't included in 50 Cent's documentary. Gene, another former Diddy bodyguard, recently explained why he wasn't part of it, and the reason is really interesting. According to Gene, the documentary director tried to lowball him on payment. But more importantly, Gene revealed that the documentary left out a ton of key details, things that would have made the story even more damaging. Gene specifically talked about the City College incident, where 9 people died at a Diddy event in 1991. He said the real story involves more people than what was shown in the documentary, and implied that Snoop knew about it but stayed quiet. Gene also confirmed that federal investigators have been collecting evidence for years. They've seized computers, hard drives, and flash drives from Diddy's properties, and according to multiple sources, Snoop's name keeps coming up in sealed testimony. Let that sink in. Now let's talk about Snoop's pattern of lying. Once you see it, it's hard to ignore. There's a video making the rounds where someone breaks down all of Snoop's lies about Tupac. He tells this elaborate story about running into Nuz in New York during the East Coast-West Coast beef. He makes it sound like there was this intense confrontation between Tupac and Nuz. But here's the problem. Nuz made a rebuttal video saying Snoop wasn't even there. Other members of the Outlaws who were close to Tupac confirmed Snoop wasn't there either. So why is Snoop telling false stories about events he didn't even attend? The person in the video asks the perfect question. What made Snoop think he could get away with telling a false story when everyone who was actually there could call him out? I'll tell you why Snoop needs to insert himself into Tupac's story to maintain his street credibility. He needs people to believe he was loyal to Tupac, that they were best friends until the end. Because if the truth comes out that he betrayed Tupac and was actually working with Diddy, his entire career and legacy would be destroyed. Think about it, how many times has Snoop talked about Tupac over the years? How many interviews where he pretends to get emotional? How many times has he used Tupac's name to boost his own reputation? It's all calculated, it's all part of the act. Now let's bring everything together. Why did Snoop Dogg really disappear when 50 Cent's documentary dropped? Here's what we know for sure. Federal investigators have video evidence seized from Diddy's properties. A lawyer has confirmed tapes exist featuring more high-profile celebrities. Multiple independent sources say Snoop is on those tapes. Kim Porter allegedly documented her relationship with Diddy before she died mysteriously. Industry insiders, people who were actually there, are finally speaking up. And Snoop's response to all of this, complete silence. Now think about it, if you were innocent, would you not defend yourself? Wouldn't you immediately sue for defamation? Wouldn't you make a statement? But Snoop hasn't done any of that, he just disappeared, went completely dark. And that silence speaks louder than any denial ever could. We all know Snoop is usually the first person to comment on drama. He's on social media constantly, giving his opinion on everything happening in hip-hop. But the second his close friend gets exposed for horrific crimes, suddenly he has nothing to say. That's not loyalty, that's self-preservation. Here's the scary part. Multiple sources say this is just the beginning, that more names are about to come out, that the federal investigation is building cases against multiple celebrities who were involved, and Snoop's name keeps coming up in sealed testimony that hasn't been made public yet. 50 Cent knows something. That's why he made the documentary. That's why he's been posting cryptic messages about Diddy for years. And that's probably why Snoop disappeared, because he knows 50 has receipts. I know this is a lot to process. Trust me, putting this video together was intense, but we have to talk about this. We can't keep protecting celebrities just because we like their music or grew up watching them. If these allegations are true, and there's a lot of evidence suggesting they are, then Snoop Dogg has been lying to us for decades. Pretending to be loyal to Tupac while allegedly betraying him. Pretending to be a fun, harmless celebrity while allegedly being involved in serious crimes. And using his public image to cover up dark stuff. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Snoop is hiding something? Do you believe he'll be named in future indictments? And if all of this comes out as true, how should we respond as fans who supported him for years? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment and I genuinely want to know what you think about all this. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I know it's heavy content, but these stories need to be told. Victims need to be heard, and we need to stop protecting powerful people just because they're famous. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this story is far from over. More information is coming out every single day. More witnesses are speaking up, and the federal investigation is still ongoing. This might be the biggest scandal in hip-hop history, and we're watching it unfold in real time. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe out there, guys.
I've been confronted by so many law enforcement for the CDs. Even my studio equipment was counterfeit.
Now, peeps, we have an exclusive on the Lionel B Show today. A Diddy insider sat down with me to talk about the Diddy celebrity tapes he has possession of, and also exclusive details surrounding Diddy and Gene Deal's involvement